Today, I'd like to talk about a short-running cult classic TV show. One that's cup overfloweth with justice. And what is this sweet liquid of justice composed of?
Want me to take
Why,
it off
it's
the stage?
composed of justice and truth.
Delay that for the moment. I'm starting to like the cut of this man's gibberish.
And what is this delicious justice juice that I'm talking about? Well, today we're going to talk about the live-action Tick show. No, we're not talking about that live-action Tick show. We're talking about the short-lived 2001 series starring Patrick Gorban, David Burke, Liz Vassy, and Nestor Carbonell. It also features some great guest appearances. The show takes the form of a sitcom, with the main cast often being found in their favorite restaurant in their costumes. The show aired on Fox during its brief lifetime and was produced by Columbia TriStar Television. Meaning, Fox didn't have the rights and didn't advertise it very well. The complete series was released on DVD in 2003, and the show can be found out there. It parodies not only superhero life, but mundane human life through superhuman eyes. The characters and their interactions are definitely a highlight of the show, and if you're familiar with the franchise, then you'll notice a couple of differences. The Tick is here, of course, and is brave and daft as always, as well as Arthur, who is his usual meek self. Then there's Lady Liberty, who replaced American Maid, since they didn't have the rights at the time. She's a patriotic hero who works for the government and is also a sex symbol, apparently. Last but not least from the main cast, there's Batman Well, who is the suave ladies' man of the night, with a heck of an ego. He replaced the character Die Feldermouse. Again, thanks to rights issues. I think, however, that the loss of rights led to one of the best characters in the series here, and I totally love Batman Well. The episodes often focus around how inept the Tick is at basic human interactions in life, but there's also some variety here in the episodes. There's an episode that focuses on the side characters, as well as a couple with a bit more of a focus on Arthur. Today I'll be going over the first episode, Pilot, that introduces us to the world. So there's still a lot of great episodes left for you to explore. The episode starts with a shot of the stars panning down while the Tick gives a monologue. The pan reveals that we're at a bus stop. Turns out that the Tick is on the roof giving his monologue to no one in particular. He overhears a bus patron complaining that the coffee vending machine took his money. The Tick quickly hops down to sort things out. It's clear he's been at this bus stop for quite a bit, and one of the workers there drops a bus ticket to the city. The worker easily convinces the Tick that he must have dropped it, and with some ridiculous goodbyes, he's on his way, giving us a title drop. We then cut to Arthur Griswald, an accountant who was dressed up in a superhero outfit at work. His boss demands an explanation, and Arthur declares that he's gonna be a superhero. His boss reminds him that crime fights back, and tells him that he needs to devote his time to work fully or pack his things. We cut to the Tick monologuing again before we see Arthur at the bar, talking to the bartender and fellow inebriated patrons. The bartender says that the suit makes him look like the Easter Bunny, and Arthur retorts that it's a flying suit. He explains that his costume is themed around a moth, revealing the wings and that he hasn't tested flying yet. The bartender doesn't really give a shit, and Arthur leaves to test his suit out by jumping off a building. As the Tick is continuing his rambling and hopping from building to building, destroying a lot of things in the process, meanwhile, back in an alley, some Soviet commandos are bragging about unleashing the deadliest weapon 1979's Russia has to offer, the Red Scare. Arthur drunkenly stumbles over and vomits on one of their shoes. They threaten him, and upon screaming, the Tick overhears him and jumps into action. After a moment of awkwardness, the Tick asks if he can assist Arthur, and Arthur just replies, "Help!" After spouting his catchphrase, the Tick proceeds to easily and comedically take care of the commandos. He beckons Arthur to follow him to the roof, and on his way accidentally steps on the button releasing the weapon. Turns out that the weapon is a robot with a hammer and sickle. After watching in terror as the robot walks off, Arthur joins the Tick on the roof, telling him about the Red Scare. Another hero swings in and introduces himself, a suave hero by the name of Batmanuel. After introductions, he answers a call on his phone and we're introduced to yet another staple character of the show, Captain Liberty. She is a no-nonsense hero who works for the US government. Arthur tries to explain to her about the Red Scare, but she interrupts him by telling him about her mission to stop the Red Scare. We learn that Batmanuel and Captain Liberty are intimately acquainted as they exchange some charged banter. The two go back and forth, with Captain Liberty denying any feelings for Batmanuel and radioing to airstrike him before they embrace. Hard. This whole time, Arthur slinks off, disgusted by the other heroes in action. The Tick, however, tracks him down and busts straight through Arthur's door. The Tick proceeds to break things, looking for a secret lair hidden in the apartment. Arthur declares that he's giving up on being a hero, and the Tick gives him a confusingly inspirational pep talk. The Tick then drags in one of the commandos from earlier that he has wrapped up in a traffic sign. The man explains about the robot and their plan. Upon hearing that the robot didn't follow orders, they figure out that it's programmed to kill Jimmy Carter, and the two head off to stop the Red Scare. Turns out, Jimmy Carter is visiting the city currently, and on their way up the elevator to his room, the Tick attempts to calm Arthur down, reassuring him that he'll be okay. The elevator door opens, and the Tick quickly grabs Jimmy Carter, pulling him into the elevator. They try to explain the situation to him, but end up terrifying the poor man. The Red Scare bursts in from the elevator ceiling, and after some back and forth headbutting, the Red Scare cuts the elevator cable. The Tick and the Red Scare battle, and the Tick gets his head shoved right out the elevator, grinding along the elevator shaft as they fall. Arthur realizes he has to step in, and tells the president to grab onto him, as he unfurls his wings, and they fly out of the hole that the Red Scare made in the roof. The Tick breaks free, and the Red Scare realizes what's happened, and hangs its head in shame. In the rubble of the elevator crash, the Tick gives a one-liner after freeing himself. It cuts to the bar that Arthur was at earlier, with the Tick telling Batmanuel and Captain Liberty how they saved the day as they all sit at one of the tables. After some more obliviousness from the Tick, we see a light out the window and hear fire. Captain Liberty says it's a villain named Apocalypse Cow, and turns on her torch as she runs out to face them. The Tick pulls Arthur outside to face the 50-foot tall villain who spouts fire from her teats, and Batmanuel is the only hero to stay at the bar. The episode ends with him answering another call from his friend. Originally, Arthur and the Tick had cowls that had, goggles built in, but apparently that was changed after the casting of Patrick Warburton. I also love the nod to this show in Ted 2 when Patrick Warburton is cosplaying as the Tick. It's my favorite part of the movie, hands down. The show, though short-lived and only running for 9 episodes, still managed to end on a pretty good note. The ending celebrates a year of the Tick's crime-fighting career and feels like a celebration of the show's run as a whole. It's a satisfying end to the series while still remaining a good spot to continue the show if they had. Though a poor time slot with lots of notable competition led to its downfall. It's nice to have a show end on a good note, and not just sort of fade away or, worse yet, end on a cliffhanger. There's also a live-action version that I've already mentioned in the video that was made for Amazon Prime. But my research for that one went about as far as to knowing that there was a second season in 2019. I admit I haven't seen it yet or anything really to do with it. I actually found the show right after high school. It was on Netflix at the time, and I binged through it, and then went back to rewatch it later. And because it was so funny, it was so goddamn funny. And I showed it to a bunch of other people back in the day, a good number of people I have spread this show around to. And it became, some of the jokes from it became inside jokes with some of my friends. One of my coworkers actually, the intro bit that I use here, what I was referencing, that scene is like an inside joke between us. It's just full of a bunch of one-liners that I took later in life. So I absolutely, my connection goes pretty deep with this one. It's not something from like my youth when I was a kid or something, but it's definitely something from when I was younger, and my God, did I just instantly fall in love with it. It is, my goodness, it is a wacky time. Recommendations. I tried not to let my personal connection and feelings towards the series like cloud my judgment, but I feel pretty confident in saying that this is the kind of thing that I could pretty much recommend to anybody. It's not like it's full of like a bunch of dirty adult jokes or something, like kids could watch it and whatever little innuendos will go right over their heads. It's silly, but it's not like overly silly and obnoxious with it. It's like just the right amount. A lot of the humor is kind of built on like wordplay or other little stuff like that. Like not all of it's wordplay. There's a lot of really silliness to it, but it never goes too far. Like it's not childishly silly. It's just silly. You know, it's not like Kung Pao where it's like, yeah, some people I could definitely see getting really turned off by the comedy and being like, there's some moments, but I didn't get, sometimes it's just obnoxious or childish. Because Kung Pao could be that way sometimes. But this, not so much. It's not really childish, but it is really fucking silly. So I think, fair to say, I think I could recommend this to literally just about anybody. It's definitely worth at least a quick view. Just like watch an episode, see if you like it. I mean, if you don't like it, hey, it was like 30 minutes or whatever of your life. It's not that much. And if you did like it, well, hey, unfortunately you only have 9 episodes in total to enjoy, but there's still some out there for you to enjoy. You know, Patrick Gorban does a really good job at playing that silly, doofy character, because, you know, he does. But he also does what he does best in that he adds a good dash of heart to the guy, you know, to the tick, and just... I don't know, I really grew to like the characters over a short run of 9 episodes. So yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It's not like there's a lot of it, so it's not a huge time investment. Which I guess could be a positive or a negative, but absolutely would recommend. I don't think I can not recommend this to anybody. Alrighty. You know the usual deal. Like, I thought shit down there. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and learned a little something about a cult classic TV show from back in the day that I'm surprised didn't get around more. Alrighty. Have a great one, everybody. Today, I'd like to talk about a short-running cult classic TV show. One that's overrunneth with justice. What does this sweet liquid of justice? Fuck.
Well, sometimes it do fuck.
And what do this sweet liquid of justice do? Somewhere, someone right now has been just sitting outside the door for a couple hours, just being like, motherfucker was in a skirt 5 minutes ago. I don't know what the fuck he's saying now. I think this dude's high as shit. Yo, one time I saw him go in and out of his house like 7 times shirtless. And what is this sweet... As you were like, oh, the Pringles. I was like, I got some fucking pizza.
The Pringles give me the tingles.
In my dick.
I knew it was coming. I knew that was coming.
That was a solid pause, man. Somebody knows timing over here.
Wait, what now?
Shit, wait.
No, I wanted to do that. I wanted to make that part of the clip.
Oh, that one's going in the outtakes.
Nice.
I hope you realize that in the background of the first 2 takes, it's just me chugging Jack Daniels.
The way it should be, Tevin. If I could hide you in every one of my videos in the back somewhere chugging Jack Daniels, I fucking would.
Jeez.
do that.
It's like,
Dude, every time I do
Just every video, it'd be like,
dude, I need
alright.
a shot of you. No, better yet, I could just get a green screen shot of you. Just kind of like,
I tried.
and then I'll just take that and I can mask the green screen out so that it's just you with transparency behind it, and I can hide you anywhere. motherfucker.
dude, you feel like the Van Damme green
As
screen.
tiny as shit in the top right corner.
Dude, are those 3
I
pixels?
cover you.
Oh,
I knew there was
damn.
something missing.
There was one shot. That's the last shot.
Oh well.
The last shot for the last shot. I mean, that's it. I just move everything over, and that's about it. Complete whiplash after this.
I can only do
I feel like
You're
I've
gonna
done a
only do one
good
round.
job. I feel like I've done a good job.
Yeah, you did. You did a fucking great job.
I
That was solid.
want to be
Really great.
rewarded with whiplash.
Fair enough. Alright, you got it. I can't complain. You did fucking great for me.
Yeah, so like I took the shot, and like you notice how before when I was forgetting my lines, and then I took the shot, and then I nailed the line right after it.
It's usually how it goes. You usually nail a line right after a shot, or a shot right after a line.
I mean, it depends on which one you want to do first.
Yeah.
And what is this delicious justice juice I'm talking about? That's the salty liquid of justice. And what is this delicious justice juice that I'm talking about? Yes!
Talking about these.
You know?